Guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. It's December 6th, 2025. And of course, I'm here with my co host, Eli Weintraub. Eli, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jim. There's snow outside. It's officially the holiday season. We are less than 20 days away from Christmas and I can't believe it's almost less than 25 days from New Year's. Can you believe that one? The
I
year's
know.
gone already.
I know.
We have a great show for you guys coming up today. Of course, we have a special guest, Diego, joining us to talk all things about the World Cup later on in our show, to talk about the World Cup draw and much more. And of course, we'll talk some football and much more. And as always, you can call in live. You can scan the QR code, and I'm going to get the link into the chat during the monologue, so you can call in, or you can look on Facebook. The link is there to call in live, ask your question, or to give your thoughts.
Yep.
Brandon checks in and says, Good morning. Good morning, Brandon. Thank you for tuning in. And now I pass it over to Jim for the monologue, sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summer Hill, New York.
Okay, Eli. And the monologue this week is again, and my kind of frustration with the NBA and the way, over the past couple of years, the way these guys come in and they demand a trade and it just throws off the whole balance of a team. And now, you know, the latest one is this Giannis Antetokounmpo one, and there must be some sort of substance to this story that he wants out of Milwaukee. And it's kind of frustrating because, he's considered a legend there. He did win an NBA championship there, but that's apparently not enough. Not enough to make $54 million this year and 58 million, staggering numbers. And I can see how this is going to pan out because if there's any truth to some of these rumors that he wants to play only for the Knicks, well, then that's going to happen. And it's going to kind of throw the whole balance of power in the certainly in the Eastern Conference, because right now you look and let's not mistake the Knicks and that they're winning, they're 12-1 at home and so forth, that it's attributed to Mike Brown. I mean, I think Thibodeau could have had the same thing, but if this deal does go down, and it's going to cost the Knicks a lot. It's going to cost them Carl Towns and maybe OG Ananobi and all those kind of things. But again, it's just these NBA guys. They can come in and make a statement to say, "I want to play somewhere else," and this is why I'm not a big NBA fan anymore. I think the game has certainly changed. I was a big diehard NBA fan growing up, but I get tired of these guys dictating where they want to play. And listen, Lou Alcindor and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar later on in his career, and Oscar Robertson. So the Milwaukee Bucks is a great franchise, and yet he wants apparently longing for more limelight. Like he's not considered the best player in the game. Well, he's still only 29 years old, maybe 30 at most. And it's kind of frustrating. And this is kind of why I don't watch the NBA anymore, because I don't like the fact that the players dictate to the owners where and when they want to play. So I would love for people to give some comments, and I'm sure Brendan has some comments on this, but it's frustrating for me, and that's kind of why I think NBA viewership is down. It's just frustrating to me.
Well, I
That's my
think
thought.
if you talk about viewership, why it's down, well, it's I don't think it's because of that. I think it's because there's a sport called the NFL and college football that's in place right now. Once that comes and goes in January, because once January hits,
Well,
college, then basketball and NBA and NHL, everybody gets into because there's no football to watch. There's nothing really to take look at. This is their sport that they'll go to next. So I think that is a reason why maybe it's not the best viewership. In terms of watching the NBA, again, the playoffs is really when the NBA is at its peak excitement. For right now, I know it's the NBA Cup season, so it's a little bit annoying to us fans, as you will, because we're not, it's on Prime Video, the NBA Cup this year. It's a unique tournament. They're paid a lot of money. It's not exactly, normal salary and stuff, and it's an addition to the regular season, which is already long as it is. You know, I can see why fans aren't a fan of it either. But it is a long season like any other sport. It'll gain viewership, no problem. They will have its ups and downs as usual. But I think once the NBA Cup is out of our talks and stuff, and once NBA Cup's gone, and once the football season's done, then I think the NBA will be back at its king spot once again.
Yeah, but just think about if you're a Milwaukee Bucks season ticket holder and you got one of the marquee players in all of basketball, and he decides he doesn't want to play there. You've already made an investment to take your family to Milwaukee. This is going to set Milwaukee back, the franchise back, for years by trading one of the best. But the thing that's frustrating is that they have the power, and the owners will buckle under, and they'll accommodate them. But if I'm a fan of that particular team, I'm not happy about it at all. That's my only thought about
Oh
it.
yeah.
So,
Two
yep.
comments coming in from Brandon. The NBA is a meaningless regular season watered down. Everyone makes the playoffs, internationally relevant, less relevant in America, ratings down. Shorten the season and start at Christmas Day. See, I don't know about start at Christmas Day and shorten it because, again, people do like opening week. They do like the opening, couple days. I think the issue is this whole NBA Cup stuff. Once the NBA Cup stuff came into play, now November and part of October and even December just became designated NBA Cup months and nothing else. I think if the Cup tournament is the first thing that starts a season and that starts as opening night on Wednesday and the actual season starts in December, I'm okay with that. But I don't know.
Well, let's talk about this real quick because we got a lot of stuff to cover. But this
right. And
NBA
we have
Cup,
another comment too. So go ahead. Yeah.
right? But the NBA Cup is absolutely
A
meaningless.
joke.
It has nothing to do with enhancing the game. It doesn't make me want to drop what I'm doing and go
All
watch
it
the
does is
NBA
give
Cup.
players more money that they already have. That's
Exactly.
all it is. And for the
That's
average
right.
viewer, it's more money that you have to pay because now it's on Prime Video and all these streaming platforms. And it's
Yep.
also a higher ticket price because that's what they want.
Yep.
Bill says the NBA is a business. The price of tickets are too much to afford for the average family to attend. You're
Oh,
absolutely right.
William, we've been saying that for years and years and years. It's outrageous, to be quite honest.
Yes.
But
It really.
anyway, enough with the NBA.
All right. That's enough. Well, I think we have one more comment and then I'll go off. Do you think the excuse me, illustrious Boston Celtics franchise would care about an NBA Cup? Money, yes.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't mean anything. I don't even know why it's.
Yes, I'm going to say yes because for the players, it's about the money. For the fans, no. But for the players, yes, because it's about the money.
Well, I'm more about the fan than I am about the players. So for
I
me,
am too, but that's what the NBA goes by. That's their motto.
all right.
Anyways, let's
Yep.
move off. It is time now to talk about the FIFA World Cup, and joining us
Yep.
now is our very special guest for the evening, or after morning, I should say, the one and only, our soccer expert, Diego Cruz. Good morning, Diego. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, good morning. Thanks for that intro. You embarrassed me. Thank you.
All right, Diego. So, listen, thanks for coming on, and I know this is a big deal for you. And listen, we have a lot of fans that love this World Cup too, and it's a big deal. So, kind of tell us your thoughts on the draw and really what it means for the World Cup. Does it align with the expectations to get these teams that they want, like the Spains and the Frances, right? These are the top teams in the country, right? I mean, in the world. So tell us about what your feelings were on the draw and for the U.S. in particular.
Yeah, thank you, Jim and Eli, for the opportunity to join you guys. Yeah, very exciting times for if you're a soccer fan or not. The World Cup is coming to the U.S., Mexico, and Canada this coming summer. It starts on June 9th and it goes all the way through July 11th. So if you're a soccer fan, you'll have a lot of chance to watch a lot of games. Like it was said yesterday in the ceremony, it's like watching a Super Bowl a game 2 or 3 times per day for the whole month. That is what it equates to, right? So it's so many billions, millions and millions and billions of people watching the game. So it's very, very exciting time. So yesterday, we finally had the drawing. 48 teams are in the World Cup. 48 spots are in. There's 6 spots that are still up for grabs. There's a couple of playoff tournaments going on in Europe and in South America and Asia, which will determine the last 6 spots. So As of now, we know 42 teams that are in, and there's 6 spots still available that will be come March. We will know who those teams are. So the 48 teams that are in, there's 12 groups of 4. So those 48 teams will be divided or have been divided into 12 groups of 4. And it will be a round robin for the group. And then the first 2 teams of every group move on to a single elimination, in addition to the 8 best third place teams. So that gives you 32 teams in the second round, right? So you're going to have a round robin of four the 4 teams in a group.
Yep. And it becomes like March
And
Madness,
then 32,
basically.
right, 32 teams move on, and then it's you lose, you go home after that. Okay.
Right.
So in terms of favorites, I mean, you got to give it to Spain. I think they're high favorites. Argentina is right next to them, if not right behind them. Those are my 2 favorites, and you got to throw in France in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
And there's a
Diego,
lot
let
of
me
nosebleed-
ask
go
you a
ahead, Jim.
question. So how
Sure.
many games does, let's say the ultimate winner of the World Cup, how many games do they have to play? How many
Sure.
wins? I know you could actually
7.
lose a
7.
game, right?
Right.
And still stay in the tournament. Explain that part of it to us.
Right. So well, you can lose a game in the first round in the group stage, right? Because it's a round robin. So everybody in the groups of 4, the 4 teams play against each other. Okay. So you can afford to lose a game there, but once you move on to the second round, if you lose, you go home. Okay. So in order to win the whole thing, you got to win. You got to get up to game 7. If you get up to game 7, that's the final. If you win that, you're the champion.
Okay.
Right. So that's how it's breaking up. To answer your question about the U.S., let's talk about the group of the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
So the U.S. was drawing with Paraguay, Australia, and one of the teams that will come out of the playoff in March. And one of those 4 teams are. So the 4th team in that group will either be Turkey, Romania, Kosovo, or Slovakia. Right? Slovakia. So that will be the 4th team, but that will be in that group. I
Okay.
think the U.S. got a very, very good draw. They can. I can see them winning their group, right?
That's
and if you
possible.
win your group, your next opponent is not as tough, quote unquote tough, as if you were to finish second or third.
So
I
is it
think
as
the US
simple as Diego? Is it as simple as saying the 4 groups? If the U.S. wins and they're in Group D, right? So if they win
Yes.
Group D, does that mean that's the final 4? Does it really come down to that?
No. So
Okay.
after the first round, after the group stage, again, you go down to from 48 to 32 teams left, right?
Okay.
And then you have to play up to 7 games. And if you're lucky enough or good enough to play the 7th game, that means you're playing in the final.
Right.
Right.
It's
But after
basically
the
almost
group
like a March
stage-
Madness bracket,
Yeah.
Jim. Right.
Yeah.
Basically, right now it's all it's round robin for all these group stages, as we see on the map here, and then
Right.
it turns into a March Madness bracket.
It
Wonder
does.
who goes on next, and it's almost
Okay.
like March Madness, pretty
And
much.
then you lose, you go home. Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
When I was taking a look at the groups and everything, Diego, to me the toughest 3 groups seem to be Group C, I, and L, with France and Norway and Senegal in the playoff one. Brazil, Morocco,
Yeah.
Haiti, and Scotland, England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Those 3 groups seem to be the toughest group stages
Well,
of the list. I don't know, maybe you agree or disagree with that one.
Definitely agree with Group C. I think Brazil and Morocco are the favorites there. Morocco is a good team. They're going to be a sleeper. They finished 4th last World Cup. So keep your eye on Morocco. They are a very, very young team, very, very good team. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go all the way to the final or the semis, for that matter, right?
Diego,
I think
let me ask-
Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead, finish, Diego.
Go ahead, Diego.
No, and another group to keep an eye on is the L team, right? That's the
Yeah.
England team. You have England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. So to your point, Eli, I think that's a tough group. I think England and Croatia are the favorites there,
Mhm.
right? And France, the I group, right? Group I,
Yeah.
you got France, Senegal, Norway, and the winner of another playoff,
Mm-hmm.
of a playoff game.
Yeah,
So-
those 3 are definitely the toughest. Let me tell
Yeah,
you.
those are the toughest. But with so many, I mean, it used to be that it was 32 teams in the World Cup, right?
Right.
Now
Mhm.
it's 48. So you're gonna have some games that may be blowouts. For instance, Germany I think Germany will be playing. Germany will be playing Curacao.
Right.
Right, that is the game. Right, Germany is a very strong team. Curacao, the first time they ever made it to the World Cup. It's a small island, right? I mean, kudos to Curacao. Awesome that they made it, right? But
Right.
you're
I
going to
mean,
see
that's-
games like that where there's some of the first round games are going to be blowouts, and if you listen to to the FIFA gods, right, the next World Cup they're looking to expand it to 60 games, so that's going to
Right.
be total chaos. Don't agree with that, but we'll talk about that in 4 years. So
absolutely.
let's
there's
talk about the
actually,
U.S., right?
and even in that Group D that you would what is it, Group E with Germany, there's a
Yeah.
team I never even heard of. Who is Cote d'Ivoire? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that's another small group, and that's what happens when you expand the number of entries into the World Cup, right? You get small islands, very small countries. It's cool for them that they made it. I mean, kudos, right? Everybody wants to be in the World Cup.
Pretty much. And you
If
know
I'm
how I
one of
look
those
at it?
players, I'm over the moon.
I look at it, it's basically like March Madness. These little islands, little countries
Yeah.
and stuff, they can make a run for the money. It's like a Cinderella story in March Madness. That's how I look
Yeah,
at it.
yeah. It's like Niagara ever making it into the Niagara to the
Yeah.
NCAA.
Of course.
I know you'll go nuts, Jim.
Well, I wanted to bring something up that Eli and I were talking about. Eli brought this up to me, that they're going to rename the stadiums for this World Cup, and that's, how is that going to sit well with MetLife and Gillette? They
There's
paid
a
for
lot
these
of stuff
sponsors,
going on.
but they paid a lot of money to have that name, and for this particular reason, like the World Cup, there's so many people watching it. That's why they built these stadiums. And now the World Cup is saying you have to rename MetLife the New York, New Jersey Stadium just for the World Cup. There's going to be lawsuits galore going on.
Yeah, that's that's too way over my head to figure that one out, right? How they're going to figure that out? There's a lot of politics, a lot of money involved. So who knows what's going to be the end of that?
And not just that too.
Well,
like
listen,
for example, like MetLife is a Pepsi product place. Now they got to switch to Coke because the Coca-Cola products, that's the official sponsor. So again, it's a lot of corporate companies. 14 of the 16 stadiums between USA, Canada, and Mexico, they're having their name changed because they cannot use the name. Like example, Gillette Stadium, MetLife. So that's really going to be interesting. And another issue. And Brandon brings it up in a comment here. He says, "Great job, Diego, and it'll be a wonderful event. But MetLife is going to be a madhouse, and they couldn't handle a Super Bowl. Are they ready for this tournament?"
Well, yeah. I mean, there's talks about. So thank you, Brandon, for that. There's talks about of how chaotic it's going to be. Hopefully, they have a good handle on that. I know they had the Club World Cup a couple months ago, and that was kind of a test run, right?
Right.
Hopefully, they figure that out. But there's the ticket price is going to be outrageous.
Right, that we have to minus that part out. It just comes down to
the
transportation.
ticket price is going to be outrageous. Somebody who likes soccer as much as I do, there's a line that I will not cross in terms of how much I will pay for a ticket. Right?
Absolutely,
it gets crazy. And on top of that, there's talks that to park a Giant Stadium, MetLife, is going to be between $75 and $175.
I believe it. Yeah,
outrageous. I mean,
not just that. What happens to the mall at American Dream? Because now that's the newest addition here to East Rutherford. Do they have to close it down just for the World Cup? How does that work for the regular mall people? This is a lot of stuff
worked out. Hopefully that. But I want to talk about the U.S. right in their games. Let's talk about what the U.S. is going to play. Right. So the U.S. first game is on June 12th against Paraguay. It will be played in SoFi Stadium in L.A. Right. Their second game is against Australia on June 19th.
Right.
In Seattle. Right. Lehman Field. And the third game will be playing U.S. against the team that will come out of the playoff.
Right.
Winner of the playoffs. And that will be on June 15th. Is that yet to be determined? It'll probably
let me ask you a real direct question. From a U.S. perspective, are they on that level of these world teams like Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, Argentina? Are they on that kind of level as the men's soccer national team made a statement that they belong in the same conversation with those countries?
No, I think we're now, unfortunately, Jim. I don't think the U.S. is at that level yet. Can they put up a fight? Yes, absolutely. I mean, we saw it a couple World Cups ago when the US beat Germany, right? Right. But so and
Well,
anything can happen. The
what is it going to take for the U.S. team? And we've been talking about this for years and years and years. That they're never really at that level. What is it going to take in this country to make
Players.
well,
them a credible team
well,
in this tournament?
well, it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take the guys and gals with a lot of money to throw money at the MLS, for instance, right? The
Right.
problem that we have today in the MLS is it's a good league, right? It's not top level league.
No.
But anytime you see a good player come up, right, there's a team from Europe that comes and grabs a player and takes it away. And the cherry picking happens all the time, right? So we need a lot of people with a lot of money to
Yeah.
throw it at the MLS teams and say, hey, if we have a good player, let's keep him. And besides, let's keep him. Let's go to Europe and grab their top talent and bring it here. That's
Well,
what's going to take.
all
It's
right.
not going to. It's not going to happen overnight. Who knows? There's too much money being spent in Europe now for players.
And I think
All
you
right.
brought up a great point though with about USA though. They're not ready yet just yet to go far. Maybe like you mentioned earlier, they could win the group stages going to the next round, but they're not
I,
just quite there
I
yet.
can see them. I can see them winning the fourth game.
Right.
Absolutely, I can see
Absolutely.
them winning the
Yeah.
fourth and possibly the fifth game. I can see them. I can see them doing that. But
Absolutely.
we
I
have a
do
good
too.
team, guys. We do have a good team.
It's just
There's
there's a lot of tougher
players-
competition out there.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
our players are playing in Europe. They play overseas,
Right.
right? So we do have a good team. So don't be surprised if the U.S. wins the fifth game. I wouldn't be
All right.
surprised.
All
Well,
right.
listen, Diego, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of insight into this World Cup. I know we're still 6 months away, but for our soccer fans, I think this was helpful. It certainly was helpful for me to understand the FIFA draw and all this kind of stuff. But we're a long ways away. We'll have you back on, but thanks for bringing us up to speed on what's going on in the World Cup, and we're looking forward to it. So,
All right, thanks for having me on, guys. Be well.
Thank you so much, Diego. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
One
all
thank
right,
you, Diego,
Eli.
once
So,
again.
like I said, we're 6 months away, but this gives us a little bit of an overview, and I appreciate Diego coming on. So,
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Diego. And of course, as always, feel free to call in or leave a comment about the World Cup or anything you want to talk about. We'll be happy to accept the call and, chat with us.
all right.
With that, let's go to talk some NFL football because that's what our fans want to hear about. And we
Yep.
were all given a special treat on Monday Night Football. We got to watch a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving on ESPN with young Hoku. How amazing was that? Because one of the worst kicks I think we've ever seen in history, young Hoku did a
Yeah.
Charlie Brown Thanksgiving pretty much on
Oh,
on
mean, we
Monday
could,
Night Football.
yeah, we could talk about the Giants and what kind of a mess that was. That was an absolute example of where this team how far they have fallen. They didn't look like they belonged on the same field as the New England Patriots, and it's
Oh
been
yeah.
frustrating for Giant fans and in New York area, the Jet fans. But right now, the Jets have a better record than the Giants. Go figure this. It's crazy.
And you know what the sad part is? The Giants have a much better team player-wise compared to the New York Jets. It's amazing.
Yep.
And the
It
Jets
is.
had a
So
big
we
one last
gotta.
week. They took down Atlanta. They did really good there. But we have a lot of injuries to talk about too. Going around. Sauce Gardner out this weekend for the Colts. And that was one of the biggest names that they got on the list. But a lot of injuries, though, we have to also take in mind heading into this week, and a lot of questionables too.
And Eli, when we talk about the Giants, this whole situation with Abdul Carter, he was like the second pick in
Oh
the
yeah.
draft. And it really is frustrating if you're a fan and these guys don't take their responsibility
Yeah.
seriously. And Shane, he has to lose his job to this. You have to basically start over. And the Giants have a good foundation. Don't get me wrong. With
They
Jackson
do.
Dart and Neighbors, but I thought this guy Carter wanted to be a player, and they didn't really care about what his reputation is going to be. And this is the same guy that wanted to wear Lawrence Taylor's number. Are you kidding me? I mean, how dare you even request that first and foremost, but then to put on this kind of thing? Maybe Lawrence Taylor would have said down the road if Abdul Carter became an outstanding player,
And if
then
you won a
maybe
Super
he
Bowl,
could
then
have
yeah.
worn the number. But right now, it's an embarrassment to the Giants. Embarrassment.
No question about it. And one big news story: the NFL announced this week that the fields must change their fields to apply with new guidelines by 2027. So we'll see a change in the fields coming soon, especially to here at MetLife Stadium, which has always been a constant issue in the NFL. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But other than that, it was an exciting week. Bills claim Darius Slay. Steelers claim Adam Thielen. And Brandon Arbery sets a new record for kicking 63-yard field goal.
Yeah. Well, we've talked. Yeah, we could talk about the fields. We talked about it a lot. Like, why is Giant Stadium or MetLife Stadium? We said they have to make one uniform field, and I'm finally glad that they're actually making progress and addressing the difference in turfs across the NFL. It's just frustrating.
All right. And William says the Giants organization needs an overhaul. You got it right there, my friend.
100%. It really is frustrating for a Giants fan. And you know, Eli, when we talk about the NFL, we think about, you know, like right now the Giants for 10 years this has been a mess. But you know, if you're a Giant fan, think about the other teams. Like there's 4 teams that's never even made the Super Bowl. So
Right.
a lot of teams that just haven't won a Super Bowl. And you talk about the Vikings, and last year they won 14 games, and this year they're a doormat. And you know, maybe they selected JJ McCarthy, and maybe that's a mistake. So you want to talk about overhauls, William, you know, the Giants, the Jets, the Vikings, these teams, Cleveland Browns, you know, the Detroit Lions, who've never been there, but you know, they're on the precipice. They got a good foundation at least. But the NFL is so unpredictable that you know, it's frustrating for some of these fans. And
you talk about unpredictable. Let's talk about that playoff right now, because if we look at the playoffs right now, the best team is the Patriots at 11-2. But are they the best team, or are they just getting lucky because they're playing these weak teams? I keep on stressing this every single show because they hold the number one record. They're likely going to they're likely going to win the division. They're likely going to be the number one team. But are they really the number one team, or are they just getting lucky? I'm going to keep on stressing this over and over again. They have a bye week this week. We'll see what happens when they come back. And on the NFC side of things, the Bears and the Rams are the top 2 teams in the NFL. And they have one big game tomorrow, the Bears. The Bears, they take on the Packers tomorrow. That is a big game, my friend, right there. It's a number 6 battle with a number 1 battle. This will ultimately determine who's in first place, who is the front runner in the division. A lot of tight races there. And how about in the NFC West? Can we go there for a second? Because Seattle got a win. Are they the best team? Are they going to go far? No. But Seattle's in it. San Francisco's in it. Los Angeles is in it. In reality, we might see all 3 of the 4 NFC West teams in the playoffs if everything plays out the way it should.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because, you know, the case you made for New England, and listen, Mike Vrabel's done a great job, and Drake May.
No question.
He looks like the player, but you're right. They had the weakest schedule of all the NFL teams. And you could make the same statement about the Chicago Bears. They have
you got that right.
The best record in the NFC. Are they the best team in the NFC?
We'll find out tomorrow.
I'm not sold on them yet.
We'll find out. If they win tomorrow, I'll say yes.
Yep.
I will say absolutely yes. And one more note. Since the Giants are off, Jameis Winston's going to appear on the NFL on Fox, and Russell Wilson's going to appear on the NFL on CBS. So instead of focusing on practicing watching football, they're joining the broadcast booth. So take a look at that one.
How about that? Wow. I can't wait to hear their perspective on things.
Well, at least one won a Super Bowl, but that was a long time ago. And one also threw away a Super Bowl. You know, if we remember that one, you know. Don't get me started there.
Should have had 2.
Should have had 2, but we don't.
Yep.
Why don't we go ahead and take a look at that standings chart? We've been all waiting to hear it. And look at that. The losses stay the same because guess what? We both went 3-0 this week. We both earned points. We didn't lose any. 25-16 for Jim, 23-18 for me. I'm 2 games behind. Maybe with this week's picks I can gain it, but I don't know what you're picking. I don't know what I'm picking, so we'll have to find out in a second what everybody thinks. But what are your thoughts on it, Jim?
Why don't you start us off with our 3 games of the week?
It'll be my honor.
Start us off, Eli. Give us your 3 picks.
Bengals Bills 1 o'clock on Fox. Originally the 4 o'clock game. Now it's at 1 o'clock on Fox. A very big game. Joe Burrow's back for the Cincinnati team, and Buffalo's been on and off this season, even despite their record, all the way it shows. What's the point spread tomorrow? Guess
Yep.
what? 5.5 favorite of Buffalo. Yeah, I don't fall for that. Give me
don't
the
care if
Cincinnati
points spread.
Bengals 26-23 in an upset.
Woohoo! I see separation on the standings, but thank you
Keep
very
in mind,
much for
remember,
that.
I will keep on saying this. I don't know. I know you don't believe in point spreads, but originally at the start of the week, and I'm going to confirm that
don't.
one more time this week. Just to confirm, Buffalo 6 points now. The point spread was 5.5 originally. Now it's up to 6. I don't believe
Whatever.
I just think that 1,000% Cincinnati's going to take the upset in this one.
Okay.
We go to Pittsburgh and the Ravens. The Steelers and the Ravens. A great game tomorrow. That game is on CBS at 1 o'clock. Baltimore's favored by 6. Originally 5.5 to start the week. You know what? I just like upsets today. Give me the Steelers in an upset. Because you know why? I just think that I don't know. The Ravens are, they had a bad loss last week.
Yep.
Steelers, they're gonna come back. I think they'll get a win here. Things will change. So I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. Lastly, Dolphins Jets 1 o'clock on CBS. You see, we pick all tough games on the show. No cupcakes, unlike Jim Seattle picked last week. Dolphins Jets really
Yeah, but
interesting.
Jim's pick last week with the upset with Carolina. Thank you very much. But go ahead.
And whatever. Dolphins Jets, really, really good game. Both these teams, believe it or not, won last week. The Jets won last week. The Dolphins won last week. Could go either way. Really could. But I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins here, 22-18 to get the win.
Wow.
So my final picks, Bengals, Steelers, Dolphins. Let's go 3-0 again. Let's hope. Let's pray.
Okay. All right. Well, we got two common games here, so let's start right off. And I got Cincinnati at Buffalo, and when I look at the AFC and it's so wide open, I know the Buffalo Bills are they're from a wide receiver perspective, that's a problem, and you could see that they're not scoring the volume of points, but I like them. I think Josh Allen, and he could make this work with the tight ends, with Kincaid and those guys. So I'm going to take Buffalo over Cincinnati this week as different pick from Eli. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Yeah, this is hard to figure out. I mean, it just seems like there's just chaos in Pittsburgh, and I don't know that they could right the ship. We know that Aaron Rodgers is not the answer. They're calling for Mike Tomlin's head. So I'm going to take Baltimore. I think I just don't know whether or not Lamar Jackson is healthy or not, but I still think they're a better football team. So I'm going to take them over Pittsburgh. So we got two different picks right now.
Wow.
And the third game is Chicago and Green Bay. And as I mentioned before, I'm just not sold on the Chicago Bears. I think Ben Johnson's done a terrific job. Caleb Williams is playing, but I don't know that they're at that level right now. I think Green Bay, I look for them to beat the Chicago Bears this week.
So your picks are Bills, Packers, Ravens. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
And Jim, good luck as always. It's going to be a lot of separation after this week, let me tell you, because
yes, it is.
We have three completely different. We have two same games, but three different picks. It's going to be interesting, Jim, and it's going to be a tight race. Let me tell you.
It will. So, all right, we got the NFL, but listen, college football. It's we're getting
prime time now.
Down to the wire, and there's some championship games. And boy, first let's talk about
the big game,
the coaching carousel. I mean, there's just guys all over the place. New coaches from all over. Last week, I was sure that Lane Kiffin was definitely going to leave Ole Miss, and he did. And is it just for an extra $3 million a year? It sounds crisp, but I don't know. I mean, the fans aren't happy about it. I know that for sure. And my sister, and I have a niece that goes to Ole Miss. So, but Penn State finally gets a coach, and a lot of movement on the college football front, head coaching wise.
Yeah, A lot of movement there, but let's talk about some of the big games today, because one of the big games that I'm really excited for, and I think everybody is, Indiana, Ohio State in Indiana. Even though Indiana is not considered the home team, they are the home team because they're in Indiana where the game is at tonight. It is
This is
one heck of a game. 8 o'clock on Fox. The ratings are gonna be outrageous tonight. Duke, Virginia is also at 8 o'clock. I don't think many people are gonna watch that one, but
yeah. Well, there's two.
what a great game.
Yeah, that is the big game. These are the two right now look like two of the best teams in the league. And we talk about it as we could be looking at a Heisman showdown between Sayan and Mendoza as well. So
Oh
I
yeah.
know we have some loyal listeners, Tom Pugh and Derek Krug or Indiana guys. I just think the way Ohio State's playing, especially coming off, finally getting off the schneid and beating Michigan last week, I think Ohio State is clearly the number one team. This is going to be a very tight game. I'm not going to be surprised if Indiana can stay with them all game long, but I look for Ohio State to win that game.
Big one.
Yeah, and the other big game, of course, is Georgia Alabama, and this is a great matchup. I think it's a 4 o'clock game, so you
Yep.
got great college football on Saturday here. So Georgia, Alabama, and Alabama's kind of had Georgia's number lately, and I been wrestling with this, Eli, all week. I wasn't sure because I'm a big Kirby Smart fan,
Right.
and I think Kirby Smart will find a way to beat Alabama this week because I think he really has a great team, and of course they got to play it out, but I look for Georgia to beat Alabama this week. What do you think in that game?
Yeah, I do think Georgia's gonna beat Alabama. I think it just hasn't been the same culture without Saban. I think that Georgia gets another win here.
Okay, that's a big game.
Yeah, it is.
So let's pick some other games. There was a big game last night. Tulane, whose
Yeah.
coach is leaving, right? So he's going to. Let's see, where's he
Lane
going?
Kiffin, right?
Florida. No, Summerall's going to Florida.
Yes. Yeah, Ohio State.
Billy
Brian
Napier
Sure.
goes to James Madison. James Madison won last night, but
Yes,
their
they
coach
did.
is leaving. Penn State finally hires a coach, Matt Campbell from
Campbell.
Ohio State. Memphis coach leaves. He's going to Arkansas, Ryan Silverfield. Jonathan Smith gets fired at Michigan State, and longtime Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald is taking over Michigan State. So that's a big move, too. So a lot of movement. Brian Hartline, Ohio State's offensive coordinator, he's going to South Florida. So you want to talk about a busy week in coaching carousel in college football.
That's it. Let me tell you. Well, we got a couple comments I want to get to real quick. We begin with Guy Cran of the Steelers controversy pick. Yeah, you got it right.
And that's
and
coming
William-
from a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Wow.
Bill says there are a lot of Jersey kids playing in the championship games today. So that's interesting to know. Thank you for that, Bill.
Yeah, Bill, and we talked about it. I actually was looking at it when we talked about high school football and St. Joe's win last week. But I was looking at the Bergen Catholic, the Don Bosco, the St. Joe's. These are the future D1 players. And you look at it, the quarterback for St. Joe's, I think is going to, I'm going to say Wake Forest maybe,
like
but
that, yeah.
these kids are, and that's absolutely true. These guys are going to be playing in these big games that we talked about today from New Jersey. Love it.
You got that
Love
right. All right, Jim. I think it's time for some random points.
Take us down the road, Eli.
All right, I'll kick everything off. By the way, it's sponsored by Lynch Toyota in Manchester, Connecticut. Thank you as always. Here we go. TSA announces that travelers without a real ID will be charged $45 starting in February 2026. So be sure to get that real ID ready to go.
Or get a passport, either way.
Nope, no more. No, you have to have a real ID now.
Nope, you can have a passport.
Oh, really? I know. I thought it changed. $45 without a real ID. That doesn't include passport anymore.
Eventually it will, but if you have a passport, you're good to travel domestic.
Okay. Yeah, because I believe I thought the report said you don't need a pass. Yeah, you can't have passport anymore. It has to be real ID.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, Take a look at that. NBC and Utah become new bidders in the Oscars broadcast. This comes as Netflix rules out of taking over, and ABC is becoming less aggressive, quote unquote, in the bidding process. Netflix has bought Warner Brothers Studios in an $82.7 billion deal. At this time, Netflix and HBO Max, the streaming services, will not combine, but Netflix now controls the operations of it to its studios, what it releases, and of course the TNT Sports entity. Crazy, crazy,
Wow.
crazy. Maurice Dubois is leaving CBS and the CBS Evening News. This decision comes after CBS continues to lay off its talent and its staff. The replacement has not been announced. Prior to working in the evening news department, he was the news anchor at WCBS TV Channel 2 in the New York, New Jersey area. I'm gonna miss him. He was really good. I enjoyed watching him.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest is extended by 90 minutes, airing from 8 p.m. December 31st to 4 in the morning, January 1st. They will now cover the West Coast ball drop. Exciting stuff there.
Okay.
Coco Jones will sing Left Every Voice and sing at the Super Bowl. Charlie Puth will sing the national anthem, and Brandi Carlile will perform America the Beautiful. Charles Barkley and Dick Vitale will call 2 games together, one regular season game on ESPN and one first 4 NCAA tournament for TNT Sports. How exciting is that one? We're going to get to see these two.
We're Dickie V fans, no doubt.
Seth Curry will remain a Warrior for an extra year, so we'll keep an eye on him for another year. He'll stay along with his brother. For those interested, this Monday at 8 p.m. on ESPN2, Disney Channel, Disney XD, Disney Plus, and the ESPN app will be the Monsters Fun Day football broadcast. A new animated twist to the game. We saw Toy Story 1. Now we'll get Monsters Incorporated with NFL. So check that out if you're, bored from the original broadcast. In Los Angeles, on the intersection of Hollywood Boulevard and Vine Street, was this really cool billboard I saw on the other day on social media. It's for Percy Jackson, the Olympian, the show. They put a billboard out there, but it pours out water onto the ground. How cool is that? It was such a cool video. You got to check that out. That billboard that they came out with. Check that out if you're interested. Pretty cool sight to see. You never seen that before. And lastly, SNL's all new this week with the hilarious Melissa McCarthy as your host and Dijon as your musical guest.
Okay.
So
I got some random points, a little more sports oriented, but I did want to mention, I was going to mention the Netflix that, boy, they're really making a statement. They're going to own the sports broadcasting thing going forward. It really is amazing to me. But a couple of things, and we had one of our callers last week, Ed Heath, brought up to my attention. He's got I think his son goes to Yale. So Yale was down 42-14 last week against Youngstown State, and they came back and won the game 43-42.
Wow.
So we don't give Ivy League football enough credit. I think
no, we
on
don't.
This show.
Let me tell you,
that was a big win for Yale.
100%.
An observation, Eli. I noticed on Sundays when Fox and CBS have games on at the same time, Fox does not show the scores of other games during the broadcast.
Right, only CBS.
CBS does, and it doesn't take much. Up in the upper left-hand corner, it just gives the scoreboard. Why can't Fox do that? I mean, I don't understand that at all.
I kind of never liked it either, though, because at the same time, too, is I never liked how CBS did it with the scoreboard because I just want to see the game itself. I would like to see the little tickler maybe on the bottom with the stuff. I don't want to see it every 2 seconds because by the time you look up on the TV, if you look down or something, the score's gone. You still have to look up on your phone anyways. At least if it's on the little tickler on the bottom, you see the scores, you see the stats, you see the information. I'm okay with it being on the bottom at the tickler part, like how we have it here with in red on the bottom of our show. I'm not a fan of on the corner like CBS does. I'll be quite honest with you.
I like it, actually. So that's all right.
Agree to disagree.
Of course. But an interesting thing from it with Diego, but National Women's Soccer League, this team, Trinity Rodman, who happens to be Dennis Rodman's daughter, gave her a multi-million-dollar deal, which was vetoed by the commissioner. And I don't understand why. I mean, if you want to start branding and getting people to watch, you have to have the best players in the world. So this girl could go and play international soccer. I don't know all the nuts and bolts behind it, but that was kind of surprising. There's got to be some other reason for that. But she's clearly maybe the best player, and they were going to pay her, but now maybe that's throwing off the balance of, I don't know, salary caps or whatever. I don't understand that.
I know.
Kevin Durant became the 8th player in NBA history to score 31,000 points.
Wow.
And, listen, I remember him coming up and starting, and now look at this. No one's going to catch LeBron, who's got 42,000, but Durant will end up passing guys like Nowitzki and Michael Jordan and so forth. So I guess 8 players, it's pretty good
I
thing.
think we can confirm that he is going to be a Hall of Famer, right?
100%, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't like the way that he does, and like we talked about in the monologue, he goes and says, I want to play here or I want to play here, and they accommodate him, but still a hell of a basketball player. A couple other quick notes. Tomorrow, of course, is December 7th, which is Pearl Harbor, the attack on Pearl Harbor on our country, which led us into World War II. So remember those people that were sacrificed that day. And like I said, we always recognize milestones and give credit to our servicemen and women. And Pearl Harbor was probably the most devastating day in the history of our country.
Oh, 9/11 was, but yeah.
Yeah, well, both of them, I think, were on par.
Mm-hmm.
And just one quick note, Brian Cordero, a friend of mine that I work with, had his first child yesterday, so best of luck to them. And his wife, Erin, her maiden name was Monahan. No relation. But
no
anyway,
relationship. That's
congratulations to Brian and his wife.
That's great.
Yep. Eli, one other quick thing I want to mention before we get to recommendations. So baseball season and the winter meetings are coming up as well. Right now, the only big change was Devin Williams goes from the Yankees to the Mets. I mean, he could barely get anybody out last year, but they paid him a lot of money. And there was an interesting thing because we always talk about the Hall of Fame. Here's a couple of names, and I was looking at it and looking at the statistics for potential Hall of Famers: Carlos Delgado, Fernando Valenzuela, Dale Murphy, Don Mattingly. And I know Brendan has some thoughts on this, but I looked at all of those, and out of all of them, I would say, as much as I admired Don Mattingly and so forth, if you look at his numbers, no. Dale Murphy, same thing. Dale Murphy was one of the best players in the game for a stretch, but overall he had a 265 average and barely cracked 2,000 hits. So as good as he was in that era, I'm very strict in my Hall of Fame. But I looked at Carlos Delgado's numbers, and they're actually pretty impressive for a longer period of time. Do I consider him, and I go, oh, Hall of Fame guaranteed? No, but you can make a case for him. And Fernando Valenzuela, yeah, he had a great, rookie campaign, and he was a decent pitcher. But Hall of Fame, I don't think so. So that's quick on it. Quick on the Hall of Fame thing.
All right. With that, time for what's your recommendation in the photo segment. That's sponsored by Vital Selection. Scan the QR code above Jim's head to learn more.
Okay, Eli, I got a recommendation, and you and I kind of talked about it early on. I actually watched this again. I've seen it before. It's called When We Were Kings, and it was kind of the documentary on the Muhammad Ali George Foreman fight in Zaire, Africa. And it was so much more than the fight, which was amazing, but it was also about the politics and apartheid, and it really showed how eloquent Muhammad Ali was and how influential he was. And it really is an outstanding 2-hour documentary. It's so worth watching. And that's when Ali invented the rope-a-dope. He sat there and let George Foreman just hammer him for 4 rounds. And George Foreman ended up tiring out because of you just kept throwing punches, and then Ali took it over. It was a shocking fight itself, but it was so much more than that. It's absolutely worth watching.
Absolutely. I guess for me, the holiday recommendation: watch Home Alone, Grinch, or Polar Express, or Elf. One of the 4 Christmas classics, of course, of this holiday season.
Of course, is Frosty and Rudolph
And
are my
Rudolph,
two
and
favorites.
of course. Here's the only photo for the week. Let's take a look.
Well, it's Christmas time, and then I keep talking about my grandchildren, and there they are. They're out there eating marshmallows, cutting down their Christmas tree. So, that's what it's all about. The holiday season, it's about family and so forth. So, those are the three lights in my life right there.
That is awesome. Well, happy holidays, of course. And
Yeah.
special time as always.
All right, Eli, we
Unfortunately, we
have
do have a couple of notable passings to report.
yes, and you lead us off because I know you have one in particular that's very special.
Yeah, I'll start off with that one first. One someone very close. I also serve, of course, every Sunday at church and everything. Father Peter Sticko, he was the pastor here at Our Lady of Grace Church in Fairview. He also ran the school, and he had one bio to report. Let me tell you, he served in the Air Force for 20 years as a chaplain there. He also took care of an orphanage down in Ayacucho, Peru. Bishop Eustace's High School in South Jersey. He was the board of directors there. St. Jude Shrine in Baltimore. He has the youth group. He did stuff in Rome. He made an impact all over the place. I had a chance to interview him on October 31st. I guess you could say it was the last official interview, sit down interview. It was very sad to see. They did one phenomenal send off yesterday. They even shut down the George Washington Bridge heading to New York just so the procession could cross. That is something special. You don't ever see the upper level of the George Washington Bridge being stopped and closed so the procession could cross. And they did one heck of a job. And it was glad to be part of it, and to be there every Sunday with him, and something special.
Outstanding. That's what a resume, and served in the military and so forth. I really feel for your loss. I know how difficult that one was. Yep.
Yeah. The other ones I have was Roy Kramer, SEC commissioner for 12 years. He passed away at the age of 96. Former Lakers star Eldon Campbell passed away Monday. He was born in 1968. And finally, Siena lacrosse coach Liam Gleason has passed away at the age of 41. He was born in 1984. And Frankie checks in, says, great show today, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, Frankie. Yeah, Eldon Campbell, I do remember him as a player. I remember him playing at Clemson, and he was a #1 draft pick, and did ultimately win a NBA championship with the Pistons. But he made his career mostly for the Lakers. He was a good player, only 57 years old. And I have a couple other ones. Lem Barney, who was 80 years old. Lem Barney is a Hall of Famer, played cornerback for the Detroit Lions. And I've referenced this before. When me and my little brother were growing up, we had this stamp book, which had from Sunoco, and every time you got gas, they gave you stamps, and you would fill it out for each team. That's how I got to know all of these old time players, and how he was a Hall of Famer. He was 80 years old. So that was a big loss for the Detroit Lions family. Here's one, Eli. Burt Meyer. And I know people are going to go, I don't know who that is. Excuse me, but Burt Meyer was 99. And what was he famous for? He invented Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which is a toy that I had as a kid.
Wow.
And used to play with my little brother. And also Light Bright. You ever hear of that, Eli?
Nope.
No, he was an inventor of those things. But Rock'em Sock'em Robots was an absolutely awesome
iconic.
toy
Yeah.
play with. It was cool.
How do you like that?
And one other one was Steve Cropper, 84 years old. And you want to talk about a resume. If you ever saw the movie The Blues Brothers, he played guitar for the Blues Brothers, and the famous song Soul Man and all those kind of things. Played with Booker T and the MGs and so forth. He was actually in the Blues Brothers movie. What a resume this guy had. He was 84 years old. But from a music perspective, it doesn't get any better than that when you have a resume where he was with the Blues Brothers, and it just what a resume. Just big loss for the music business.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
Well, we had a great show today. We thank you to everybody for commenting, for tuning in, for listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel on Swords with Mono and Mono. We really appreciate it. Thanks for all the viewers last week. 250 views was a milestone for us last week, so we really appreciate it. We hope to have the same number again this week. Thank you again for tuning in. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to both of us.
We do, and we, like I said, I guess the key for us is when you go to this thing and you tell a friend, have them subscribe, so you get the updates and like when our show, if it's going to be at a different time, we love the participation of our audience. And
absolutely,
of course, you can send us an email at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. And like I said, we're pulling for Indiana for our loyal listeners, Mr.
of
Pugh,
course.
Mr. Krug, but unfortunately, I got to take Ohio State. So don't kill the message.
I'm going Indiana. Go Hoosiers.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you same time next week. Eli, have a great week.
Have a great week, everyone. Take care now.
See you guys.